Welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm Jane Mountrose, your host, and I'm a holistic coach, healer, minister, and founding director of Awakenings Institute, a nonprofit organization that's devoted to creating a more loving world. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by my husband and partner, Dr. Phillip Mountrose, our co-host, wonderful, beautiful spiritual coach and teacher, Phoenixx, and our special guest, psychic medium Matthew Stapley.
Hello.
Our topic today is self-acceptance and universal love. And on a related note, I want to mention that we're grateful you've chosen to join us. Everyone is welcome in the circle. And if you can, wherever you join us and whenever you join us, please like our page. Also be sure to tell us in the comments where you're from and add your insights. We really love hearing from you. As we begin, I also want to pause for a moment to invite the beings of light who surround us so lovingly in the higher realms to support us and bless our circle with love and light that we can generate and share and radiate out as points of light to transform the world. So let's just breathe for a moment and relax a little bit, releasing anything that's not love as we exhale. This time is for you to let go, to relax and fill yourself to overflowing with love, because there's plenty of here. And we'll also share that it's unlimited, actually. So there's plenty for everybody. And as you begin, I wanted to mention, also be sure to stay with us because we're going to have a beautiful guided meditation that will take us to a place where love and light prevail, where we can find the infinite source. So as we begin, I also want to say a few words about Matthew. I'm so happy to have him here as our guest. He's just a delightful person, very creative, a psychic, just has many, many things to offer. So I'm sure that it's going to be a fun time that we're having together. And Philip, why don't you share a little bit more about Matthew?
Yes, Matthew is a psychic medium from Ottawa, Canada. His professional career began at the age of 17. He's been featured in many publications, podcasts, television shows. He's created 2 oracle decks, which is interesting. And he's assisted thousands of people over the years now, worldwide, in helping people work through grief and self-acceptance and fear. We'll be talking about that today, of course. He's the creator of a weekly live stream show, attracting hundreds of viewers across the globe through Facebook, his page there. And he also helps people with challenges they have just in general in life, and going deeper into who they are and what they're here to do and how to go forward. And so we welcome Matthew Stapley to Awakening Circle of Love and Light, actually coming back again because this show reincarnated from the Soulful Living show a year ago, where Matthew was our guest a while back there, and it was wonderful to have him there and then, and good to see you again. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys again, and it's nice to meet you, Phoenixx. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. And we wonder if you could start us off by telling us why this topic of self-acceptance and universal love is important to you.
Sure. Well, I mean, I kind of lived it for a minute. I mean, I think my first round of acceptance was when I was younger and coming out as an LBGT community member, and then later on with, discovering learning disabilities, and then of course psychic abilities and all these little things that didn't really fit the norm, whatever that is supposed to be in 2021. And so my journey of self-exploration really had self-acceptance as a big part of it, because at any point, if I would have not allowed that process to unfold, or I would have rejected parts of myself, I don't think I would still be here. And I think the reason it's a passion is that so many people, in fact, I think everybody on the planet at some point feels like there's an element of who they are that they just can't like resolve, whether it's something that they don't like or something that they're ashamed of or fearful of. And there's a process that has to unfold for us to become whoever it is that we're meant to be. And a big part of that is the acceptance of the self and self-honesty. So it's through my own personal roller coaster that I became passionate about this topic.
And that's probably true for so many of us. And then many of us are still in that journey of understanding how magnificent we really are.
Yeah, very much so. I think if people could see themselves through the eyes of the universe, I think it would be a much more balanced place. And as a medium, I often think that if people could see how surrounded and loved they are, that
Right.
our world would be a completely different place.
Yeah.
We would like to re-emphasize that is in fact true, that if we saw ourselves in the way that the Divine Mother and Father views us, then many of the challenges and problems that we have, we won't.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
We wouldn't fight with ourselves as much, I don't think.
We
I
won't.
don't know about you guys, but I have these moments in my life where I stand in front of what I call the cosmic mirror, the true honesty of the universe. And
that sounds like fun.
No,
Oh,
Jade,
it's not.
so uncomfortable.
Oh.
But it's important, right? When we can see ourselves in the fullness of who we are, all the things that we like and all the things that we don't like and the things that we're afraid of, when we can, at least in the moment, accept that side of ourselves, even if we're accepting it to create change down the road, we can begin a journey of self-love. And when we love ourselves, as you guys know, we can love others at a much deeper level, and we can accept people at a deeper level. But it's not comfortable. No. That mirror is not a fun place to be sometimes.
I'm wondering, Matthew, and you help people, I'm sure, see people on the other side, sometimes relatives, but probably higher beings, I would imagine, as well. And yet, when they're on the other side, things are much more understandable and unified and blissful. And yet, if you're talking about deceased relatives, when they're on this side, it's very fragmented and fractured. I'm wondering how you reconcile the two and understand them, since you're so much in different worlds all the time.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can only go with what the spirit world has told me happens when you pass away. But what they've told me is that the moment somebody passes away, they have a full and complete understanding of their life on earth. And as you guys know, as healers, a big part of healing is understanding. Spirit told me years ago, all pain dies at the hand of understanding, meaning once you understand it, it can no longer hurt you. And so when you have like the full awakening of death, I would say it's more of like an awakening of death, you have the complete picture. And so there isn't pain and there isn't illness or narcissism or anxiety or fear when you go over there. And because of that, even if people had bad blood between them on earth, when somebody passes away, that experience comes to completion, so that there's full resolution. And so it is a more blissful state for sure, because it's a harmonic state. It's a harmonious state where anything that was missing from your earthly understanding is now completed. So you're in full flow with the universe. And I think that's a hard one for us earthlings to grasp, I think, sometimes, because we're used to having conflict and resolution, not full, complete resolution on earth. So, yeah.
And I think for us, Philip and I, years ago, I think the thing that really changed my life, one of the biggest things ever, was when we were taught how to open to the love in our hearts. Because if you open to the love in your heart and ask it about the truth of who you are, you don't hear all of those, all of the things that normally come around, like I'm not tall enough, I'm not educated enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, nobody likes me, I'm inadequate. I really felt years ago like I was deeply flawed. And I thought anybody who had any spiritual understanding would know that. And it embarrassed me. Like I have to hide myself because everybody would know.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it is. And I'm not talking just about for me, I'm talking about for anybody.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that separation, it really is an illusion of ego, right? And our
Mhm.
egos are important, like we need them. Their job, the ego's job is to maintain our current state of survival, whatever it is, for better or worse. Its job is to maintain the current state of survival. But with that ego comes a ton of fear, and I think also a ton of fear around anything that's not like us. And so, it's natural that there can be judgment in the world from stemming from that. But I also think the judgment that comes, like as you mentioned, from ourselves towards ourselves is it's almost catastrophic for some people.
It is,
And,
yeah.
and they wall up, and it really is sad. I think the place that I hate to see it the most, and hate's a strong word. I learned years ago that there's only three things you don't say unless you mean it. I love you, I hate you, and you're handsome. Those are the three things. Unless you mean it, don't let those words be. So I say
That is
hate
quite funny.
on purpose. I because I'm also a minister, and one thing that drives me up the wall is when people feel like God is judging them, or the universe is judging them, or whatever they believe to be their divine presence is judging them, or they're not worthy of it. And there's a minister and an author who said it better than anybody I've ever heard. Her name is Nadia Boltz-Weber, and she said, God doesn't have a relationship with who you think you should be. The relationship with who you are, and you're good enough as you are, even if
Right.
Mm.
basically in process as a person. And I just thought that was amazing.
Right. I think also we're surrounded with beings of light, angels and masters and guides who all love us.
Totally. And
It's all about love. And do you want to say a few words about that, because you have a perception of it?
Sure. So, like, just to clarify the question, so to talk about what divinity sees us as, or the divine beings, how
About the presence of them in
Yeah.
each of our lives, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, well, we definitely are surrounded. I mean, we've got definitely like loved ones and ancestors around us. We have angels around us. We have a multitude of beings, I think trans-dimensionally or cross-dimensionally. And I think that's the ethereal side of it. And I think the more physical side of it is the way that those divine presences love us also through each other in the ways that the universe brings people together. So, there's multiple layers of support for our journeys. And I think it's beautiful. And I don't think anybody on the planet's alone, even in the moments where they're at rock bottom, clinging to their sage and lavender, hoping that things are change in 5 minutes because they can't do it anymore. Even in those moments of solitude, I mean, they're still so supported and so surrounded by the entire universe. And I think that the way that they view us is we're just unfolding. We're a part of this greatness that is continuously expanding towards its highest point of light. And I think that's beautiful. I also think that they have a very profoundly personal relationship with each person, and I think they also have the balance of a societal relationship or a collective relationship. So, I mean, there's a lot of wisdom upstairs for them to love and support us as individuals in our conflict with the rest of the world sometimes, and still support the world. I mean, that is the greatest, I think, display of love I can think of.
Mhm.
Mhm.
How do you recommend, Matthew, for yourself or for others to tune into that? We're surrounded and sort of bathed in universal love and support, and yet the world is very filled with conflict and stress and turmoil.
Sure.
And people seem to be unaware of that. I mean, how do you help people to wake up to the support and the love that's there?
I make it really not fancy. In fact, I take it out of the spiritual and I throw it directly into the physical. So a lot of my formal education was in health sciences related stuff. And if you look at the human body, we are constantly in a state of resolution. Like at a chemical level, we're resolving molecular differences and maintaining homeostasis. At a psychological level, we're taking in what we don't know, resolving at an educational level to create a balance with our lives. We're built for resolving things. Our methods of communication are comparison and contrast, so there's resolution associated with that. I think when we look at life that way, which is very unspiritual sounding, we can understand that physiologically we're constantly in that space of taking things that appear to be opposing and bringing them to balance, right? And so that is at a physiological level what we're doing, it's also what we're doing at a collective level as well, right? So yes, there is a significant amount of conflict, especially right now in the world, and for the last several hundred years, in fact. But I think we have to see it as trying to take these opposing variables and create a homeostasis for the world, a balance for the world. And it's an ongoing thing, the same way it is within our physical bodies. And so I think when we look at it that way, the important thing is to decide which variables are important to us and how can we bring those important variables together to create a better world or a better space. So my answer is not probably not the spiritual sounding one you were looking for, but it's a very grounded earthly one, which is, I think, sometimes what we need just as much as we need the support upstairs.
Yeah.
The synergy.
And we can ask the angels to join us. I think this is something I didn't realize until I actually started doing it myself, that we can invite them into our lives. And if we don't know them by name, we can just say, well, I need the relaxation angels, or I need
Totally.
angels to send me joy. And
Yeah.
and it comes. It's interesting.
I think it's already there. I think that us asking for it is us aligning with it, not it aligning with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I think that as soon as a need is needed, I think that divine presence is there and helping. But if we consciously decide to align through prayer or meditation, then we're getting out of the way so that they can help us at a deeper or easier level. Yeah.
Right.
And it's beautiful. Let's be honest. Prayer and meditation are beautiful things. I think it's amazing.
And I see a lot of people joining us. We have Rose Russell, Anne Gates from Scotland. She must be up late tonight. Miles Jason Romaine and Bonnie Yvonne Baglow, which I'm sorry, I'm probably not doing a good job with that. Yes. So welcome. And Pam Stewart. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. Phoenixx, did you want to add something here? I know we've been kind of speaking a lot here. Was there something you wanted to insert here?
No, we are enjoying the energy of
the flow,
the conversation. Yes.
Yes, I want to come back to Matthew then. Excuse me. Something which I think I'd like to get your take on.
Sure.
And the topic du jour is self-acceptance and universal love. So we're helping ourselves, all of us, accept ourselves. We're doing that, and we're all individually doing it, and we're helping people here. And at the same time as accepting ourselves, there's the idea of going forward with your purpose and creating in the world and making a difference. So how do you work with those different things? Like you're sort of accepting yourself, which seems to also be with clearing all the stuff that's in the way, and then going forward with creating a wonderful life and making an impact.
You know, I think that our life purposes are innate. I think they're energetic. So who we are is, I mean, that's our purpose. The way that we interact with the world, the way that we connect with people. I think we can do that working for the factory that makes toothpaste and we're screwing the caps on all day. And I think we can do that if we're, you know, like prime minister of a country or president of a country. I think that who we are and the way that we express ourselves is why we're here. But the process of self-acceptance in relation to that, the more we accept ourselves and we believe in ourselves and we believe that we're worthy of that divine presence, the more that is going to flow. And I think the other side of that is we are always teachers of what we learn in our lives. And so if we are accepting ourselves and our life path and the experiences we've had, and we're working with those things, then we become teachers of the happier side of what we've learned, because we've all had good and bad experiences. So for example, like if somebody was, I don't know, punched in the face when they were 12 and they never worked through the emotions of that, then they may grow up to be somebody who punches people in the face. Or they could work through it and see that it wasn't really a reflection of them, and then they can help people who are punched in the face with the knowledge of their experience. And so, you know, I think that it's always a balance, and I think that the acceptance is important in enjoying our purpose. Maybe I think we'll always live it,
Right.
but whether or not we like it is a different thing.
Well, I think it is the thing that makes us feel most alive. We're here
Yeah.
to live fully, to feel
Totally.
alive.
Yeah.
And those things that bring us the most joy are the things that make us feel alive, and have
Yeah.
a lot to do with just the gifts we're given. And I love the phrase, your mess is your message. There's
Yeah.
that one, or your greatest lesson is your greatest gift. And Phillip and I, as you know, we train people in coaching and healing in a very spiritual way. And we teach that because it's so important for people to realize that whatever it is that they're overcoming is going to become a blessing to other people.
Yeah. Always.
May
And
we
it was
add?
true for me. Oh, go ahead, Phoenixx.
This is why contrast serves, yes?
Right.
Because it assists us in evolving. If not for the challenging experience, we will stay in the same place, correct?
Always.
And so, yes. And so when the challenge occurs, it is a blessing. It is a blessing that we are receiving to aid in our evolution and our expansion, correct?
Right.
I would agree with you. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent way of putting that, Phoenixx.
Mhm.
And if we can see challenges as opportunities for growth and to become more of who we really are, it does help to to kind of shift the perspective from, oh no, this is happening to me again, to, oh look,
Right.
and something good is going to come from this.
Oh,
Yes.
totally.
Right. Another way of saying that is if God or source is growing and evolving and becoming more, and we are a piece of God, our soul, and this incarnation, this body, this lifetime we're each having right now is sort of an extension of that, a little branch, a piece of our soul.
Yes.
When we are challenged or have dilemmas or conundrums or things were interesting things and creative things, then we grow now, our soul grows, and God grows.
Yes.
Yeah, I would
You
agree.
are correct. You are. You are very, how do you say, on the button. Beautiful.
It
Yeah.
really is. I like the way that you guys are putting it. It's
Yes.
probably
Well,
easier.
it's such an exciting journey when if you can frame it in a way that actually honors the truth of who we are and the process that we're in here together.
Yeah, I think so too. I think what's also cool about that is the way that you know, for like since the beginning of time, people have tried to put words to explain our journeys and our purposes and the why we're here as humans. And I think it's neat because a lot of us say the same thing in different words, and I think that is also
Yes.
a sign that it's
Yes.
coming from somewhere other than just ourselves.
Yes.
Right. Right. And also just blending understanding. I think when we hear something from another person, we might catch something that we hadn't quite integrated ourselves. So
Always.
of course, that's what we're doing here.
Which
May
is
we
awesome.
add?
I'm loving it.
May we add
Yes.
to Jane? It is the co-creative nature of the universe, yes? So each of us, we are the all, and we have access to the all, yes? However, isn't it more dynamic and joyful and beautiful when I access the all, bring forth this part, and Matthew access the all and bring forth this part, and Jane and Phillip, and we create a masterpiece creatively, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the way that you put that. It's like bringing in different pieces of one puzzle. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Very
and going
exciting.
further, all the people who are present live and watching this in the future are all little pieces of threads of the tapestry here.
Oh, totally. I think that for every person that ever has and ever will live, that is the amount of ways there are to experience all of these things in the universe itself. I mean, it's pretty miraculous.
Mhm.
It is. It
Oh, and
is. It is
fascinating.
magic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
think it's fascinating to become aware of how many different ways there are to live life and the creativity in it. Like, I think one of the things I mentioned I appreciate about you, Matthew, is your creativity. You know, I can see, for me, life at its best is a creative project.
Yeah, agreed.
And it seems like you feel that way too. And just in the many wonderful ways that you support people, very creative.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think you're right. I mean, we can have a boring life or we can have a really interesting life, you know, and interesting can be mean a lot of things. But I think creativity, you know, in general in itself is profoundly powerful tool of healing and guidance. And I did a video not that long ago that talked about why creativity brings healing, and it's because it unlocks all of the different energy points in our body, and it creates a flow rather than stagnancy. So I think creative living is the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
full living, right? Like if live each experience to the fullest. And I'm not just talking about the happy ones, but I'm talking about the hard ones. I think we only will look back on our path if we don't bring something to completion, right? And so whatever it is that we live through, whether it be something scary or hard or easy or wonderful or joyful, we have to bring it to its end point, to its completion. Otherwise we'll walk away always with our head over our shoulder. And I think creativity can help us to do that, especially in situations where we weren't able to complete something at the moment. Creativity can bring us back to that again, allow us to find completion, which is cool.
Yeah. And everybody's creative. I think some
Totally.
people say, well, I'm not very creative.
In their own way.
It's actually not true.
I agree.
We're
Yes, it
uniquely
isn't.
creative. And that's I think
Correct.
that's the joy, is to
Correct.
find how we're creative.
Yeah,
Correct.
I think so too. And I think you've nailed it. I think that everybody
Yes.
can create things, and they can be vastly different. Like I know one friend that she says she's not creative, but she's the most amazing baker I've ever seen in my life. And
Mhm.
that's creative, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I like arts, crafts, and swear words. So-
Some swear words. Okay.
Well, it's interesting because what you were saying about a woman who's a fabulous baker and doesn't value it, that's another part of, I think, what is most true to what we are, is that it's easy.
yeah.
And it can be so easy that we devalue it because we think, well, that's too easy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Or I think maybe part of the problem could even be our like our cultural or maybe even collective understanding of what value means, because in 2021 value is usually a dollar sign, and unfortunately.
Right.
And I think if we shifted the value to the wholeness of an experience, so does this propel my path forward, or does even if it doesn't seem to propel it forward, does it bring me a sense of joy or peace in this moment? To me, that's valuable. And so maybe what we could start off with is redefining what value and valuable actually mean.
Good suggestion. Very good
Right.
suggestion.
Like everything, it's it's really up to us to define these things. And it really, if you're thinking of what we call value is now money, in so many, like to have value, you have to be wealthy or whatever. We can redefine all of those things for ourselves, because I think that's where we are in society too, is we're in a place where we can create something different than what we have.
I think so too. As hard as the last few years have been with the pandemic and everything, I think we're actually in a very fortuitous place in terms of almost having not quite a blank slate with the world, but I think enough pieces have been thrown up in the air that we can sort of decide where they're going to land a little bit. My hope is that over the next year, our world becomes bit of a brighter place for people, or people
Mhm.
align with their own brightness in some way.
Well, that's
Can we
what we're
speak
here for.
on that?
Yeah.
What
May
was
we
that,
speak
Phoenixx?
on that?
Yes,
May we speak?
of course.
You are correct, Matthew, in your prediction, in your assessment that the brightness has already begun. Yes. And 2022, as we continue on the trajectory that we are on, because we have successfully, how do you say it, gotten to a tipping point energetically, correct?
Yes.
That will now facilitate the joy and the light, the summer time, indefinitely, correct? And we will continue to expand. Yes.
I hope so.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Yes.
Yeah, on the path.
I think we are, but I think like any beginning of any path, it can be rocky at first, and
Mhm.
I think the world has been turned upside down, and so people have to reassess who they are and what they want and what they don't want, and
Correct.
as individuals. And I think, if I may add a prediction, I think that we are about to experience what I would call a societal ego death, and not that each person necessarily will experience one, but the structures of society will. So I think we're going to see things shake up a lot
Yes.
over the next 6 months, and while I don't think it's going to be easy, I think it at the end of it will be very much worth it, and I think there will be a lot more equality and compassion for people. I hope.
Can we add that to that?
Yeah.
Or rather affirm it? You are correct, Matthew. There is there is much to be grateful and much to be enjoy about now. Yes, not next year now, because the beings of it, we have done a great job, and sometimes we are not seeing it because of the illusion of the programs that have dominated the media, correct? But this is not so. This is not so. We are energetically on the planet at the tip off point, correct?
Yeah.
And because the beings who are not, how do you say it, the conscious, not in aligned with Divine Mother and Father, yes, because they have their own path that they must take, are using the media to propagate, correct? And so when we are aligned to a higher self and we are aligned to the vibration, we become aware of beyond what we are told, but what we are feeling. Yeah. And I'm sure all of us here, we feel the, how you say, bask in the joy and the light. We feel it even before we can see it. Yes. And this is what we are meant to do the feeling more. Because what we are doing, once we are feeling it, then we become it. And then we bring our new world or fourth dimension and above, bring it into the now. Correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what we're here for in the
Yes.
circle of love and light, is to generate that love and light that then can transform our worlds individually and collectively.
I think it's always both. I think it's always individual and collective.
Yes.
Yeah.
We agree.
I think what Phoenixx is bringing through is absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yes. We are what is said, tune into the same channel. Yeah.
Yeah. And this might be a good time to take that little journey. The guided visualization Phillip is going to guide us today. So you ready, Phillip?
Ready. So this is a time to just relax. And if you can, close your eyes and just be at peace a little bit more in yourself and your body. Let your body become more at ease, letting go with every breath. And breath is a wonderful balm, a soothing part of us. Connects us with ourselves a little more deeply and gently, and making any adjustments. And as we make these adjustments, you might remember a time where you felt at odds. Maybe you were down in the mud. Maybe there was a stressor. And we've been talking about things that we face, something that gave you fear or anxiety or doubt. And we call that being in the mud. And it's a good metaphor, because when you can put it into a metaphor, you can transform that metaphor. And when you're stuck in the mud, you remember the feelings and the being bogged down, mired, stuck, very hard, very slow and dense and hard to maneuver. Yes, and we are in those places at times, and yet they are also a source for transformation, a place for learning and observing and growing, and learning how to accept those in order to transform them. And a way to do that is to imagine or sense yourself rising up. You're rising up now and you're going higher, and you have that sense or feeling. And you could imagine yourself atop a mountain with a panoramic view. There is a panoramic view visually, physically. Science has noted that, but you can imagine that inwardly, which is even more powerful. If you are atop a mountain and you have that view, 360-degree panoramic, and there's the fresh air and taking in everything you need to take in. And when you look back down at your former self, when you were in the mud and you were struggling, a lot of insights can come, a lot of awareness. You see things from a very different perspective. It's sort of like being transcendent beyond the physical, and also then seeing yourself in the physical from a higher, lighter, greater perspective. And that's a wonderful place to be as you are atop the mountain with all the resources and support. You may get, as you're in this more rarefied place, you get a sense of supporting masters and angels and beings who are more naturally existing at that density level that you can vibrate more easily with. And interestingly enough, we're always there, or always at least have access there. We just sort of forget about it. But when we remember it like we are now, a lot is possible, a lot is available. Creativity, healing, resources, wonder, joy, and more. And so, Jane, I'll just kind of turn it over to you now and see, what you'd like to share or view, and the others from this point.
Okay, and we're going to make this kind of a group experience. I wanted to share from there. When you're in that elevated place, if you just imagine being in an elevated place, it does lift your spirits, as does an expansive view. So it's kind of like you set yourself up to feel better. And of course, just stopping and breathing is a really great, great thing in itself. And metaphorically, another really powerful image is that sun that's shining down on us here on the mountaintop. The sun represents our source, our creator. And we can just invite the most beautiful light to shine down on us at any time. And in this visualization of the mountaintop, to be here, all of us in the circle together on the mountaintop, inviting that light from source, and the angels and guides who are with us, just starting to sense that it's not just us here. It's like, when I think of the circle, I think however many people there are, I don't know, 10 times, 20 times, I don't know how many times more, 100 times more beings supporting us. And we can just invite that light from above to come down and fill us, because our hearts and soul are connected, and we can just bring all of that energy into our hearts and allow that light there to light up for us. And that's where the love comes from, that we can share with the world. It's not like we have to produce it all ourselves. It's here. We just have to be receptors for it. And then we can, with our intention, share it out to the world. To those we love, to those who we know are suffering, to the world the whole
Mm.
world even. And I have, actually, I have a world here. You can open your eyes if you want, everybody. Gerald Ann, my friend Gerald Ann, recommended this. You can just hold the whole world
Yes, yes,
and
Got the whole
wish
world in
love.
your hands.
Yeah, just like that.
yes.
And make it light,
Beautiful.
So I'm curious if you, Matthew or Phoenixx, would like to share your experience of this and any insights you have on how we can generate and broadcast love.
Sure, yeah. I think for me, the way to generate, I think it's more come into alignment with or allow ourselves to feel, because the
Mhm.
universe has
Open to it, right?
yeah, the love is already
Mhm.
there. It's infinite, but how can we anchor it maybe in a tangible way would be the question. I personally believe that kindness can change the entire world, and I think I know it probably sounds cliche, but we can we receive when we do kind things. We receive when we gift things to the world around us, even if it's very simple gestures. And what I like about that is inspiring for those who receive it as well, and it inspires them to go ahead and continue to pay it forward. I think that is a really amazing way to anchor love into the world, and for people to
Mhm.
feel it just as much giving as they are when they receive. And I think
Mhm.
it's a beautiful. So that would be my 2 cents on it.
Well, that's beautiful. Phoenixx, did you want to add?
Sure. Thank you. When we are our true self, when we are our authentic self, when we are the self that is unapologetic for its unique expression, this is how we express love. Yes. This is how we are recognized as love, by being that true self and not being any replication. Yes?
Mhm.
Because when we are our authentic self, we are a divine self, which is love. Yes?
Yes.
And so this is how we bring and express the love of the divine as us and through us, when we are our true self. And so it is our encouragement to everyone. This is how you love, and this is how you bring love into the world, by aligning to your highest and your best self.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Right. And just simple expressions of kindness, I think, as Matthew was suggesting. I'm a person who by nature is pretty introverted. And I was very shy also earlier in my life. And I didn't say much to people outside of my kind of direct sphere. And I realized that I really needed to actually externalize my energy more. And I think that's true, where if you're more introverted, it often is valuable. Otherwise, your energy can just kind of collapse internally.
Totally.
So I started saying hello to people. And also, I focused on noticing something positive in everyone I would encounter. And the interesting thing I found doing that, also then I would compliment people too often, and that really lights people up. Um, it becomes a habit. And if we feel like people around us are a threat to us, which is what I felt like. I grew up in an alcoholic family. It was a battleground. So it was natural actually at that point for me to be that way. But then the world becomes a friendly place. And you can, as Matthew was suggesting, you can gift people with a little bit of brightness. And I think, Phillip, you have things you do for that too. Would you like to share?
Sure. I like to review. One of the things I like to do is review my day if I remember before I fall asleep. And I think probably a lot of people do something like that. It's a really valuable practice, and it relates quite directly to this idea of the kindness and ultimately, which relates to self-acceptance, the topic today. And when you review your day, it's very interesting what comes to mind. Like, what is this day, which is part of my life, and from day to day, and what does it all mean? And you have your life review at the end of your life. And it's just a lot of the little things that stand out. I mean, when I review today, this show will be like kind of a big thing. When I think of doing the show, I'll kind of go back, and that was like a big event, and there'll be like relative big events of the day. But then there are just little events where I'm standing in line and trying to get some stuff done with our computers, which is very frustrating. And just, breathing in and getting through it and accepting it and being patient. I was reading an article at the time because I had to wait a while, and it was a great article. It was, it was really great. I had a chance to read this article, and it was, just sort of melted the experience and sort of took the edge off of things. Just a little, just a little moment, kind of being kind to myself in that. And then I was able to be more kind to the employee who's under a
After
lot
waiting.
of stress
Right.
himself and, in his situation. So it's a series of little moments that happen every day. And when you look at them, what happened today, what was the highlight is often very little things. I mean, there are a few maybe bigger things, but a lot of it is those little moments which pass by unnoticed if we don't recognize them. But if we do, they're very valuable. They're cherishing, and they make life meaningful and make life sort of more of a masterpiece if you kind of are aware of them, put them in perspective.
I see Gerald Ann's here.
Yeah.
One of our friends, and others have joined us too. So
Yeah,
welcome everyone,
a lot of
and
great
thank
people
you.
joining here.
Yes. And I know, what is it you say to people at the store? Like, what is something about
what I did, and I like to say this, I heard someone else do it, which is interesting, and that is, what is the highlight of your day? If you say that to someone like a cashier or something, you're getting groceries, whatever, they will light up. I have not seen a time, having done it hundreds of times,
whenever you join us,
and they're often in a momentum and having to kind of just go through, maybe a pretty intense day. They might be enjoying it or not, and it's very revealing what they say. And sometimes they say, well, I don't know, nothing yet. I just got to work. Or sometimes it's, like, I'm going to leave work in an hour. That's my highlight, But I'll often say to them, well, okay, it's coming up then. I guess it just hasn't occurred yet, sort of have them kind of perk their out of the sleep and the momentum, of their particular situation. So that's a nice thing to say to people. What's the highlight of your day?
I like that a lot, actually. That's awesome. Of course, if I say that, they'll be like, shouldn't you know you're a psychic?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
Has it happened yet?
That is very funny.
Yeah, it is. And I think our interactions, it can really change your life, just those little things. That's what I've found. It doesn't have to be big things.
No, I think you're right. Actually, right now on my page, I'm doing it's called I called it the Community of Kindness Reverse Advent Calendar. So every morning I do like a quick live, and I have like a table in my office with a Christmas tree, and I unwrap a present under the tree, and it's an act of kindness that we can, everyone can do for the world around them.
Beautiful.
What are some examples?
So for today, it was to take a heartwarming picture and post it.
Wonderful.
Yesterday was to share a post from like a charity or a fundraiser that's close to your heart. The day before that, I think, was to write a note for a stranger and be creative in how to send it, whether it be like online. And then before that, we did to reach out to somebody that you hadn't talked to in a long time, just to say hi, let them know that you're thinking about them. So yeah, so there's a whole bunch of days left. There's 19 days left in the Advent calendar, but it's all simple acts of kindness.
Right. And just out of curiosity, we talked about universal love. You mentioned in the topic we had self-acceptance and universal love. I'm curious what the connection is in your mind.
For me?
Look
I
at
think
that,
that
a
I think
furry
that
one.
I think that acceptance is a manifestation of universal love. I think when we are in a state of acceptance of who we are, then we're more in flow with that universal love. And I think when we can accept others, we are inspiring it further. I think that we are showing it. I don't know about you guys, but I've had lots of times in my life where somebody came to me and they were ashamed of something they had done or part of who they are. And I've always just tried to embrace that side of themselves in a positive way. And I think that is, it is also an expression of that love. Universal love is greater than any kind of love I think that we can really conceptualize, because it's perfect, it's complete, it's balanced, and it's for all, it's for everybody, as individuals and as a collective. And it's hard with the way that our world is, because we're all so unique and different with different interests and goals and whatever, to think of something that works truly for each individual, but also as a collective. And I think universal love is a good example of how sentient the universe is, how everything is in a state of balance and wholeness, even if we don't see it, even if it takes
Yes.
our unfolding to see that at a deeper level. So
Mhm.
I think that acceptance fits into the process of love. I think in order to love, we have to accept.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the phrase. I'm not a biblical scholar or anything, but one of
Yeah.
my favorites has always been judge not lest ye be judged.
I love
And I
that.
see that as, when it's the lest ye be judged, it's
Mhm.
like judging yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we might judge others because we don't feel good about ourselves. And it can work both ways, I think.
Oh,
If we feel good about ourselves, and then there's that, goes back to that idea of having kindness towards others, and it makes
yeah.
you feel better about yourself too.
Yeah, I think it does as well. And yeah, I think you're right. I think that phrase could totally also be about self-judgment. Um,
Hmm.
I think when we come across something that we judge harshly, I think that it either comes down to our survival and fear, or it comes down to it's something that we see within ourselves and we just don't like it. We're not comfortable. It resonates too much.
Yeah,
Hmm.
projecting.
Yeah. And then other times I think, to be totally honest, I think we make judgments that are important. They're important judgments because they have to do with health and safety and well-being.
Yes.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Evaluation.
Right. It's a different kind of
discernment.
judgment.
exactly. Yeah. The evaluation. Phillip
Right.
said it
Discernment. Yeah, we want to
perfectly.
have that. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Right. And ultimately, for me, what I feel on the journey, and I think the spiritual journey has always been a tremendous source of fascination to me. I just think it's the most amazing thing. And the way it appears to me is that the essence of the journey is a transformation of our perspective of who we are and what's possible for us.
Yeah. I think you've nailed it.
And well, it is. If we feel we're inadequate or whatever, flawed or not deserving, it's all a misunderstanding of the divine. It's
Yeah.
just not true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think
And we have to learn that, most of us.
Yeah.
it's
Remember, we have to remember it.
Right.
yeah, that's
It's
true.
the
Dan.
journey of incarnation. We're beat up, we lose ourselves, the hero's journey to wake up, to find out, that we are the hero as part of the spiritual progress of the universe. We're spiritual warriors, so to speak, all of us going forward in this role, in
Mhm.
this incarnation.
It's
Right.
true, and it's beautiful, and it's also sometimes, incredibly challenging, and I think
Mhm.
that's also part of its beauty. But I don't know about you guys, but in my next life, I plan to come back as like a hair follicle or something that can just lie there and look pretty and compliment.
A fly on the wall.
The fly on the
Right.
wall, perfect. The cactus, like
Something.
whatever.
That
A
is
pampered
very
dog.
entertaining.
Yeah.
And more people have joined us. There's someone here. Oops, they're moving. So I just lost it. Megan Heinrich. She said hi to you, Matthew.
Oh,
And
hi.
Diana Beersdorfer is here. Megan, yeah, Heinrich. She
Bears.
says hello. And she said she loves the adverse advent,
Thank
the
you, Megan.
reverse advent,
Yeah.
adverse advent. It's an adverse advent.
Could you imagine? I don't want your gift. I'm adverse to it. That's funny.
It is.
So any final thoughts, or we're just about to that point of being at the end of our time?
I would just like to thank you guys for having me on here, and to all the people who have been watching. It's been a pleasure, and I like that we got to delve into some of these very cerebral but very important ideas, and pulling things out. It was a pleasure to meet you, Phoenixx, and I think that the amazing insight that you have in the way that you word things is phenomenal. And obviously Jane and Phillip Mountrose, I mean, they do amazing work in the world, and they've had
Yes.
helped people all over the world for a
Yes.
long time. So it's been an absolute honor to be here with you. And I think if I can leave it from myself on one thing, it's just that you're good enough as you are, and everything else you'll figure it out.
Correct.
Take
Right.
time.
Yeah. And it's a good starting point. Connect with the truth in your heart,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because it's there. When I started doing that, I actually started connecting with the love in my heart every morning, and then I would write insights from that perspective,
Oh, cool.
and they were always very different from my normal ones,
Mhm.
and actually very affirming.
Yes.
That sounds
So,
amazing.
yeah,
Mhm.
something I highly recommend. One of our
Mhm.
favorite things. We actually just wrote a whole book on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, we're having a new book
Wonderful.
coming out here, The Loving Power of the Soul, at the beginning of January 2022.
Right.
Wonderful.
That'll be
Yeah.
amazing. I have no
Wonderful.
And Matthew and Phoenixx and myself, we will be returning to spiritual gift giving in 2 weeks, same time, same place. That will be a very special show. We invite everyone to make sure to attend. That's a very magical time. We did it last year with people offering poems and meditations and songs and all kinds
Who
of
knows?
beautiful things. Who knows?
Right.
It'll be about
And it's
10
all
of 10 of
joyful
us.
and loving,
Yeah.
right? It's really beautiful. It's so
Yeah.
much fun. It's
I'm
one of my
excited.
favorite
In
times.
2 weeks on the 19th, I think that is.
Yeah. And next week will be good too. Before we go, I do want to offer an opportunity. Matthew, if you could tell people how they could connect with you and just
Sure.
more things. I think you mentioned to me you have is it Mondays you do the creative project?
Oh, Fridays. Yeah.
Fridays. Yeah, I think that just sounds like so much fun.
You'll have to come on there.
Yes.
It is a lot of fun.
I'd love to.
So Monday nights I do free readings over Facebook Live on my page, which is facebook.com/Canadian Psychic. Friday I do like this sort of craft night, and it's sometimes, disclaimer, it can be a little after dark conversation wise, but it's a lot of fun. And then from Monday to Friday I also release videos on all different kinds of topics in the morning. And between now and the 24th, I'll be live every morning with the reverse advent calendar.
Oh, wonderful. Do you have a website or?
I do. It's matthewstapley.com and desperately needs to be updated. but info's on there for sure.
Right, wonderful. And Phoenixx, do you want to share where people can find out more about you?
Oh, definitely. And before I do that, we just want to say we appreciate your authenticity, Matthew.
Well, thank you. And likewise.
It is a beautiful embodiment of the Christ consciousness.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Phoenixx.
Absolutely. We can be reached at our website, www.IamPhoenixx and there are 2 X's, and the Instagram at the same handle, yes, and on Facebook at Phoenixx Rising I Am.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Phoenixx is a co-host. He will probably be here most weeks coming up.
Yes,
so we're looking forward to
She's
that.
an awesome one.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
Many
fortunate.
thanks.
And also, I'd like to just mention for us, Awakenings Institute, for Philip and me, you can find out more about Awakenings Institute at gettingthrough.org, which is gettingthru.org/awakenings, or /holistic for all of our programs. You can also learn about more about the circle at circleofloveandlight.org. And if you go there, you can find more from Phoenixx and from me. If you sign up to become an official member, we call it an ambassador of love and light.
Yes.
If you join us and sharing that message of love with the world. And finally, wherever you're shining your light, you have our greatest gratitude for being here and adding your love and light to this gathering. If you enjoy the circle, you can help us to get the word out. And here are a few things you can do. The first thing, if you're here on Facebook, you can like our page. You can also share this video with your friends, and you can invite your friends to join you and come back soon. So we would love that. The more, the merrier.
Yes.
And we hope you can join us next week when we take this further into the possibilities that emerge as we individually and collectively open to more love and light, and wishing everyone a blessed, wonderful week.
Spread the love,
Many
widen the
blessings.
circle.
Yes, and
Yes.
again, thank you, Matthew and Phoenixx, for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.